The Ballon d'Or 2025 is gonna be one of the most unpredictable in years. We don't have Messi, we don't have Ronaldo, so it will be really tough to make this tier list. But I'm ranking the top contenders in this tier list based on form, trophies, individual impact and so on. Alright, let's start with Bradley Barcola. I'm gonna put him in B tier. In 2024-2025, he scored 23 goals and provided 21 assists and won 4 trophies, for example, the Champions League, the Ligue 1 and the Coupe de France. His standout moment, for sure, it was the brace in the French Cup final, but despite an incredible season, he's still young and I think his Ballon d'Or chances will be stronger in the future. For now, I'm placing him in the B tier. Next up, let's talk about a player who just exploded this season, Michael Olise. What impressed me most is how quickly he adapted to a new league and started making an impact right away, but in terms of Ballon d'Or, I think it's a bit early. He needs more European success. So for now, I'm putting him in C tier. Now let's move on to João Neves. For him, I will place right behind Barcola. The PSG midfielder had a quietly brilliant season, 7 goals, 10 assists and won everything there is to win. The Champions League, the Ligue 1, the Coupe de France and even UEFA Nations League with Portugal. Luis Enrique gave him time to adapt and that paid off. He's not a guy who steals the headlines, but he's the reason others shine. Vinicius Jr. is still the face of Real Madrid, but I'm putting him in D tier. This season he scored 24 goals and 20 assists, but he didn't deliver consistently in the big moments. He did show up in the second half against Dortmund in the Champions League, scoring hat-trick, and that's the real version of Vini we know. But overall, it felt like a drop. So despite his name and numbers, I'm putting him in D tier. Next up, we've got Victor Gyökeres. He scored 63 goals and added 16 assists, that's 79 goal contributions, the most in Europe by far. He led Sporting to the Portuguese league title and the Domestic Cup, and just secured a massive transfer to Arsenal in Premier League. Still, despite these wild numbers, I've got to consider the level of competition. Most of those games were played in the Portuguese league, which with all due respect isn't on the same level as the top 5 leagues in Europe. So for now, I'm putting Gyökeres in C tier in front of Michael Olise. Alright, now here is a name I didn't expect to have this high going to the season. Désiré Doué was the breakout star of PSG this year. 16 goals, 16 assists and part of that insane clean sweep. Champions League, Ligue 1 and Coupe de France. Honestly, I hadn't even paid attention to him before this season. But now I can't stop watching him. He's fun, he's technical, he's unpredictable, always trying to take players on, something football desperately needs more of. People are already calling him the next Neymar. I won't go that far just yet, but I do think he was one of the most enjoyable players this season. He's going into A tier, especially for the brace in the final of Champions League. The next is Robert Lewandowski. At this point it feels like he's been around forever, but somehow he just keeps delivering. In 2024-25 he scored 44 goals and added 5 assists, leading Barcelona to a domestic treble, La Liga, Copa del Rey and Supercopa de España. He actually had his highest scoring La Liga season since joining Barca and even netted 11 goals in the Champions League. That's impressive at his age, and honestly he's been vital to Barca's success. I'm placing him in C tier just in front of Gyökeres, mainly for the level of opposition and experience in big matches. Now let's give some love to the only goalkeeper on this list, Gianluigi Donnarumma, who had a monster season for PSG. He kept 19 clean sheets, helped them win the Champions League, Ligue 1 and the Coupe de France, but more importantly, he had more focus and an overall commanding presence in goal. It's safe to say that he was one of the most important players in that PSG team. He's going straight into A tier in front of Désiré Doué. Now let's talk about Cole Palmer, one of Chelsea's few bright spots this season. He finished with 18 goals and 14 assists and helped the team win both Club World Cup and the Conference League. His season had ups and downs. He went 4 months without scoring, which obviously hurt his momentum. But when it mattered most, he delivered. In the Club World Cup final against the best team in Europe, he scored a brace and assisted João Pedro to win one of the most important trophies of this season. Same thing in the Conference League final, when he stepped up under pressure. That clutch factor earns him a place in B tier, and I will put him even in front of Barcola, because Cole Palmer really stood up when it mattered the most. Next up, let's talk about the best right back in the world right now, Achraf Hakimi. This season he put up 13 goals, 17 assists and was part of 26 clean sheets. He won everything with PSG, Champions League, Ligue 1 and Coupe de France. But beyond the stats, what stood out this year was his consistency and elegance. He's entering his prime and it shows physically dominant, defensively solid and absolutely lethal going forward. For me, he's clearly in the A tier, and I'm placing him ahead of Donnarumma. Up next is Harry Kane, one of the last 2 strikers in the world right now. He scored 48 goals and added 14 assists for Bayern this season, finally winning his first major trophy, the Bundesliga. It's been a long time coming for Kane, and honestly he deserves a lot more respect. He's been one of the most consistent finishers in Europe for over a decade. And with that said, Bayern didn't go that deep in Europe, which does hold him back a bit in this race. Still, I'm putting him at top of C tier, just above Lewandowski. Now we have Pedri, and listen, I know his stats don't jump off the page, 7 goals, 10 assists and a domestic treble with Barcelona, but honestly, if you actually watched Barca this season, you will understand how crucial he was. The way he controls the tempo, finds impossible passes and keeps the midfield ticking, it's on another level. And his biggest moment was that goal against Real Madrid in Copa del Rey final. Absolutely stunning. I'm putting him in B tier. Now the man under the biggest spotlight this season, Kylian Mbappe, now officially a Real Madrid player. He had 46 goals and 7 assists. But beyond the numbers, the pressure of him this season was massive. Everyone was watching, waiting to see if he could deliver in first tier at Madrid, and he absolutely did. He was their top scorer, their most consistent performer, and in many matches their only real spark. This season he earned my full respect. I'm putting him at the very top of B tier, just above everyone else. Let's move on to Nuno Mendes, PSG's left back who had an unbelievable season. He scored 7 goals, made 12 assists, basically won everything this year, Champions League, Ligue 1, Coupe de France and the UEFA Nations League. Just like Hakimi on the right, Mendes was a dominant force on the left, rock solid in defense but also dangerous in attack. The moment that stands out for me, for sure it is the performance in the Nations League final. He was literally everywhere. But no doubt, he is the best left back in the world right now, and I'm putting him at the top of the A tier. And now let's talk about one of the most consistent attackers of the past decade. Mohamed Salah had another fantastic season, scoring 36 goals and delivering 24 assists. He helped Liverpool win the Premier League, which is no small feat. At the start of the season, people were already saying Salah might win the Ballon d'Or this year, and honestly, for a while, it looked like that could happen. He was scoring or assisting in almost every match, but in the biggest games, he didn't always show up the way other contenders did. That said, he still had a brilliant year, and I'm putting him right behind Hakimi in the A tier. Alright, now we gotta talk about Vitinha, PSG's golden boy, and honestly, how did Napoli let this guy go? First season at PSG and he's already lifted Ligue 1, Coupe de France and the Champions League. He didn't just win trophies, he showed up when it mattered, especially that banger against us Aston Villa in the Champions League quarterfinals. And also, he's already locked in as a guaranteed starter in the greatest club in Europe. He's not quietly S tier yet, but he's easily A tier for me. I'm gonna put him just behind Désiré Doué. Next up, Vitinha from PSG, who had a seriously underrated but world-class season. He scored 8 goals, gave 8 assists and won basically everything this year. Champions League, Ligue 1, Coupe de France and the Nations League. But more importantly, even came close to breaking Xavi's all-time Champions League passing record, with only 6 passes shorter. He's still young, but already playing with so much intelligence and vision. I'm putting him right behind Nuno Mendes. Okay, now we are entering into the top 3. We all know one of these 3 players will win the Ballon d'Or, or Raphinha, or Lamine Yamal, or Dembele. The question is, who's gonna win it? The first, it is Raphinha. This guy dropped 39 goals and 25 assists. He helped Barcelona win the La Liga, Copa del Rey and Supercopa. But it wasn't just the numbers, it was the way he played. Speed, dribbling, creativity, even headers, he did everything. And I gotta say, credit to Hansi Flick for giving him the freedom to shine. But what really shocked me, in just 14 Champions League games, Raphinha had 13 goals and 9 assists and completing remontadas like in prime Barca days. No hesitation here, he's going straight into the S tier. And now Lamine Yamal. I still can't believe how good this kid is, especially when you realize how young he actually is. No player has ever won the Ballon d'Or before turning 21, but Yamal might just break that record. He, in this season, scored 21 goals, 26 assists and helped Barcelona win La Liga, Copa del Rey and Supercopa. But beyond the numbers, he brought color to every single game he played. There was this pure joy and elegance in the way he played. And what I will never forget, his Champions League semi-final performances against Inter, both legs. He made it look effortless, magical. Even though Raphinha had slightly better stats overall, more goals and assists, I'm placing Yamal just behind him in S tier. The last person, it is Ousmane Dembele, who had the best season of his career. He won everything with PSG, and in moments like that masterclass at Anfield or that banger against Arsenal, he really looked like the best player in the world. But in too many games, he just disappeared. And that's why, as much as I respect him and as tempting as it is to put him first, I'm giving the number 1 spot to Raphinha. Raphinha's Champions League run, his La Liga season and the overall consistency, he was just too good to ignore. Even though I think Ousmane Dembele has the best chance to win the Ballon d'Or because he won the Champions League, but in terms of individual impact, for me this season Raphinha was clearly the best. He scored and assisted almost in every match. even when it mattered the most, he always delivered. In my personal view, I think Raphinha deserved the Ballon d'Or. But hey, this is my list. Now I wanna hear from you. Who's your Ballon d'Or 2025 winner? Was I way off with anyone? Drop your own tier list in the comments or let me know who got snubbed completely. And while you are at it, what video should I do next? If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell. Thanks for the watching.